Hello, welcome to Sage Becomes Him. I'd like to give you a little story about how Sage got her start. It's a very unusual story because it's an unusual place where she got her start. The interesting thing to keep in mind on this journey that I'm on, the mentality behind it is what is the driving force. And at the time I was a boy who didn't know what it was like to be a boy because he only had girlfriends, so he played with dolls and did the whole girl thing. So when I was thrown into boot camp, I'm around all these guys all of a sudden that I didn't know what to talk to them about. I had no guy experience. But the gay word, the faggot word, was thrown at me a lot. The way I walked, the way I talked, I had a very high voice. And it was intense. So I was a loner for a lot of things because I wasn't old enough to do anything. I didn't really drink at all, so I went bowling a lot by myself. But when my ship decided to go from San Diego to Philadelphia, my aircraft carrier, I was aboard the USS Constellation. I was in deck department, the boatswain mates. They have an initiation for sailors who've never crossed the equator. We're called polywogs, and we get beat to death after we cross the equator. Initiated. It's an initiation that was intense. I don't think they have it anymore. It's too hard for some people. But the night before the initiation, they have a Wog Queen contest. Each department sends one sailor up as their Wog Bitch, and we go in front of the XO and CO and try to become the Wog Queen. Now, here's a kid who's, Catholic, Christian little boy, and I'm now dressing up as a girl trying to tuck all the parts down, and I did a good job. I shaved my legs, put a little skirt on, had a little neckerchief tied around, stuffed it with boobs, and it was a really good little outfit. But when I stepped out, the whole ship went crazy. But I was nervous as heck. I didn't even know the power this was going to have at the time. The very beginning, I had planned on singing a song and being all sexy and trying to be whatever. But they thought I was Mexican. I don't speak Spanish. I have no accent, so I didn't know what to say. I was afraid to open my mouth. So they wanted me to be a slut, basically, and I couldn't do it. So I didn't win the contest. That was heartbreaking for me because I had a whole plan of what was going to happen. But I get back to my department, and let me tell you, the whole ship, as I'm walking back to my department, went crazy. They were all trying to get a glimpse of this me. It was insane. That's all I can say. And I get back to my department, and that's where things went chaotic. It was like every guy in there was screaming and hollering and whistling and it was just, they were so excited for me to come back, and it was such a different experience. And here I'm in a dress, feeling terrible about this whole thing, and then now the people are grabbing my fake boobs and my fake butt, and I was like, what is going on here? I got to sing the song to the boatswain in the forecastle where the anchor chains are, and he was so impressed with it. He called the captain and said, you gotta see this. This is great. You gotta see it. Because I knew it would be good. So now I have the guys got to see what I did, my shipmates in my department, and the boatswain of the ship, and he's calling the captain saying, you gotta let this guy come up and perform for you. Well, it didn't happen. They didn't let me do it, but that was when things turns around, because now the whole ship is treating me differently. No one's calling me names now. No one's doing, and being out at sea in the Navy, if you have any child to do anything, the Navy, to this day, I still defend the Navy is the best one to go into. Such a great experience to be out at sea. Nothing in the world is like it. My name was Gerber, and they nicknamed me Gerbich after that, and it was just great. We get back to the shipyard in Philadelphia, and all the guys that I knew were leaving, getting out, going back to San Diego, and now a whole bunch of new recruits come aboard the ship that don't know me, don't know the history, and I was again treated terribly. It was so bad. And, back then you didn't tattletale, you didn't tell anyone. I had been strangled. There's so many horrible things that happened to me when I got to Philadelphia that I didn't report, I didn't tell anyone, and they effectively kicked me out for thinking I was gay. And in 1991, on April 16th, 2 months and 10 days shy of my 2 years, they booted me and now stamped me with homosexual. And the reason I say this is because I then had adopted that I was no good as a boy, no good as a human being, and yet if I put a dress on. There's the beginning of our little story. Sage becomes him. I'll never forget those Navy days, never forget what happened or how it affected me and changed my entire life, because on the one hand, I never felt good as a boy ever again. I never did until recently. Lots of therapy. But then Sage, however, was born, and I knew now what I could do on Halloween when it was okay. I'll put the drag back on and go back out into public and be revered, and it happened every single time. And so, out of all of this chaos from the military, who kicked me out for being gay or thinking I was gay, Sage got her birth. So continue the journey with me. I'll have more stories and hopefully find some pictures. All my pictures have been lost to a storage unit in Colorado, so I don't have any of them, but I will try to figure out some way of locating some images, something to show you. But this is my journey to tell the story and to transform myself back into Sage. Thank you for joining.